welcome back to Tiny Artist TV. Today is the second video in the AuGhost drawing challenge series. Now, this is the first group that we're going to be doing because I prefer not to work on the weekends if I can help it. So today's prompts are going to be days 2, 3, and 4, which are Shy, Hoop, and Fly. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, don't most ghosts fly? Well, yes, but stay tuned to see how I interpret that prompt for today's video. So the first prompt for today's video is Shy, and not unlike the first prompt, which was Bump, I was once again sort of inspired by music, in so much that, well, first I had the Shy Guy in my head, but then I thought of Shy Girl and Super Shy, the song by New Jeans. And I thought, okay, what if I blended those all together and made a Shy Guy pop star Gajinka? And so you can see in my first sketch here, I took some references of Shy Girl and kind of put her in a Shy Guy costume. And I was like, okay, well, this is cute. However, I want to make it spooky. So I reworked the sketch and basically have this sort of scrungly cryptid-esque version of a Shy Guy. Pretty simple, not a lot of bells and whistles to this one. I do like the way it turned out and how it's kind of like an imagining of what if the Shy Guy was actually like kind of scary and not just a cute little guy. And so behind the mask you have this wicked little smile full of teeth, and that's the idea. It was, what if Shy Guy was less shy and more scary, I guess. To really push the cryptid feeling of the design direction that I've decided to go with, I dirty up his costume, dirty up his jeans, and then I put a little spotlight around him towards the end to make it feel like you caught him in your flashlight beam and he's turning around to see like, oh, who has become my dinner for this evening? And so that's the finished version of this creepy cryptid version of a Shy Guy. For the next prompt in our series, which is day 3, the prompt is Hoop. And so I don't know why, but the first thing I thought of was, well, I guess because it's kind of like old-timey and a lot of ghost media is more like, I can't even say a lot now, but anyway, my first thought was to do like that old-fashioned sort of stick and hoop, so a ghost playing with that. And so I looked into the history of it to kind of decide on the design elements I wanted to incorporate in the ghost design. And stick and hoop is so old that it's like, okay, I can't pin down one specific aesthetic. So what's another direction I could take this in? Well, aerial acrobatics is kind of dangerous and probably led to a few ghost-inducing accidents, so let's go with that. And also just the references, as you can see here, has a lot of interesting poses that seem like impossible for the human body, but obviously there's a human body doing it. But what's possible for a human body is obviously even easier for a ghost who is not locked down by the laws of physics and physiology and anatomy. So I just picked my favorite pose, and while she is mainly in the hoop, sort of implying the actual method of her death, I also have some aerial ribbons wrapped around her body and around her neck, implying an accident of sorts may have happened and led to her untimely demise. I really like this one because it's very graceful, but it's also a little macabre, and I went with a very simple color palette to sort of emphasize the body itself and just the central composition. So this one, while it is a little more complex than the Shy Guy sketch that I did for Shy, the execution of it is just very simple and clean. And with this piece, I also sort of tapped into the workflow that I had used to produce the AuGhost 2020 pieces, which aren't on YouTube. They're not even on my Instagram. They were on my Twitter, but because in 2020 there was a situation where I was away from my digital production, I was doing everything traditionally, so it was very simple, black and white, and I kind of leaned back into that for this piece. last but not least, for day 4, which is today, we have fly. And again, I made a joke about how, like, oh, most people probably think of, like, oh, don't ghosts fly? It's like, okay, well, of course there are other low-hanging interpretations of that. One that my husband had mentioned was the animal fly, a ghost of a fly, potentially, or, like, a thing type situation. And I shot that down because I already had a very clear vision in my mind of fly as in, 90s hip-hop and rap culture fashion. And of course, the first image that popped into my mind was, I don't know if this is spoilers. If you haven't seen Sinners yet, I'm sorry. It's probably been spoiled for you. But Michael B. Jordan's character in a Coogie sweater at the end of the movie, and yes, he's a vampire. So I was like, okay, well, I can't just do fan art of him, even though vampires are undead. This is a ghost challenge. So how can I make a fly ghost? And you'll see here that I'll go through several, once again, iterations of trying to create this just fun, funky, cool fly vibe. And eventually, instead of trying to use the sweater as inspiration, I just catch the vibe. And so we have here this group of breakdancing ghosts, one who's just sort of leaning in the alleyway, another who's got his foot on a box, and then one who is actually, breaking it down, just getting fly with it. And so that's the idea. It's fun. I hate to repeat myself, simple, which this one is a little less simple because there are 3 characters in it, and I did use posers to kind of help me get the whole essence that I was going with, but the characters themselves are very much inspired by that sort of 70s, 80s, 90s streetwear, street fashion, and just some kids hanging out after school, or just people out there having a good time, being fly. Well, alright, my little ghouls and goblins, that is all I have for you in today's video. The next one will also probably be a group of 3, just because the next 3 go really well together, and I might actually roll them into one character. We'll see what happens. That's tomorrow's problem. But for now, I hope you have enjoyed today's video, and I will see you in the next one, but until then, have a weird day.